Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Miles College. We are so glad that everyone is here this morning. I serve as Vice President of Student Affairs, and I have the distinct pleasure of working with some of the most talented, passionate individuals here at the home of Southern Beauty. First of all, let me offer a warm welcome to the Mayor, Mayor Randall Woodfin, who is present with us, whose commitment to public safety through engagement, civic engagement, not just in the city of Birmingham, but throughout, is doing a great job, and we thank God for him. To Dr. Jamila Davis and Mr. Angelo Pinto, who is here today, the co-founders of the Institute of Research for Social Justice, we welcome you, and to Ms. Uche Bean and all those others who are assembled here today. First of all, we ask that you would allow us to pause for a moment of prayer. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for life, health, and strength, and we thank you for this collaboration. Each of these programs, oh God, speaks directly to the soul of our institution and to the initiatives of the city of Birmingham. And we ask that you would bless this collaboration. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. At this time, let me welcome the president of Miles College, Dr. Bobbie Knight. Will you receive her?
So thank you, Dean Parker. Good morning. It's always a good day when the work we do at Miles College aligns so clearly with our mission to educate, uplift, and empower the communities we serve. Though our campus resides in Fairfield, our reach and our responsibility extend far beyond city lines. That's why it's not only appropriate but deeply meaningful that the City of Birmingham's Safe Summer Series initiatives are being held right here on our campus. Our classrooms and campus grounds have long been places of transformation, and today they become places of prevention, protection, and possibility. At Miles College, we have never seen ourselves as just a college. We are a launch pad for leaders, a home for hope, and a place where real transformation begins. It is truly our honor to open our campus to initiatives that pour into young people. Together with the city and our partners, we're helping to build bridges from potential to purpose and preparing the next generation of change makers to step into their calling. I want to thank personally Mayor Randall Woodfin for his leadership and his unwavering investment in our youth. I also want to acknowledge Dr. Jamila T. Davis of the Institute of Research and Social Justice in Action, and our own Dr. Geraldine Agee, Senior Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, for their vision and collaboration in bringing this initiative to life. This work reflects the very soul of who we are at Miles. Education, in our view, isn't confined to lectures or labs. It's woven into lived experience, and it takes courage to shift the conversation from punishment to possibility, from problems to potential. That's exactly what we're doing here today. And while I have the mic, allow me a moment of presidential privilege to celebrate one of our own, Miles College alumnus Raymond Cochran, on his appointment as Interim Deputy Chief of Patrol Operations for the City of Birmingham Police Department. We're 2 for 2, so we're proud of that. We like to say that Miles produces leaders, but clearly we're also producing some of the finest protectors this city has to offer. I'm not surprised. That's what happens when purpose meets preparation. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for believing in the power of prevention, of partnership, and most of all, of people. We're proud to open our gates to this work, and even prouder to know that the seeds planted here will help shape a safer and stronger Birmingham community. Thank you so much. And I think now I bring the mayor up. Is that what I do? Mayor Randall Woodfin, who's like my son. Thank you, Mayor.
Madam President, thank you so much for who you are, for your leadership, steadfast leadership here at this amazing historically black college, Miles College. We're grateful that you allow us to be with you this morning, as well as this collaborative partnership. I too want to start off by giving some acknowledgments and some thank yous. First is to my colleague, Councilor LaTonya Tate, for her steadfast work in the space of social justice and public safety. To Dr. Jamila Davis, Angelo Pinto, and the Institute of Research for Social Justice in Action. Of course, I see our friends here who are in the streets, in the neighborhoods, on our city blocks, One Hood. Thank you for everything you do every single day, as well as Uche Bean, who leads the Office of Community Safety Initiatives. Listen, everyone. The City of Birmingham, as you know, we are continuing to take bold, community-centered actions to reduce violence in our communities and our city. It is a special emphasis this summer through this innovative program that will, one, empower youth, but as well as adults, as well as our grassroots leaders, like here, One Hood. I think it's clear to say that these efforts are part of the city's larger community violence intervention framework. One, as Dr. Knight said, invest in people, prevention, and partnerships to create lasting safety. A couple notes I want to make. One is that this collaborative approach and partnership between Miles College and the Institute of Research for Social Justice and Action is a prime example of what can happen when people come together. Birmingham is investing in education empowerment. It's not enough that we just arrest our way out of these things that are happening in our community, but we have to focus on prevention as well. But we also have to create economic opportunity, particularly for our young black men. And so I want to talk about 3 programs that are taking place right here this summer. One is Rise Up Birmingham, which will be a 5-week paid leadership and violence prevention program for 50 teens and youth. Participants will earn $12 an hour while gaining real-world experiences in making our community safer. 2, it's titled Flipping the Game, From Hustle to Enterprise. Again, flipping the game, from hustle to enterprise. It is designed for adults ready to transition from informal hustles to sustainable legal businesses. This program offers mentorships, training, and a $2,000 in startup capital. Both of these programs will run from June 30th to August 1st. And then I want to talk about community practitioner and residents. This is a transformative opportunity for adults, residents, and grassroots leaders to receive training and engage in our continued field work. Now, this will build a network of peace builders and equity advocates committed to citywide transformation. The word I want to focus on is peace builders. Peace builders. They're more needed now than ever. But I also want to make this point. These are not just programs. This is a pathway to purpose. You heard Bobbie Knight, Dr. Knight, that is, President Bobbie Knight say earlier about purpose. We are investing in people who have the power to transform their communities, which are our communities. Each of these efforts is aligned with recommendations from the Birmingham Crime Commission, which call for an expansion of community violence intervention programs like the ones I've just mentioned and more street outreach teams. In closing, I just want to say together we are addressing the root causes of violence. We're taking a long-term lens. We're focusing on education, mentorships, financial opportunity, and civic and community engagement. I also want to share that there's more information you can learn at birminghamal.gov/CSI. As I close out and before I bring on Councilwoman Tate to come up here, I simply say, I end the way I started. This doesn't work without partnership. So again, to President Knight, thank you for everything, and thank you for your leadership. Yeah. And at this time, everyone, I introduce to you LaTonya Tate, who represents City Council District 9, is also chairwoman of the Public Safety Committee. Yeah.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm not going to be before you very long. I just want to thank Dr. President Bobbie Knight for embracing this great opportunity, and thank you to Jamila T. Davis for her readiness and Angelo Pensa readiness to come and bring these opportunities to Birmingham. One of the things that I have really been very intentional about doing is making sure that we reduce crime and gun violence in Birmingham, and we've done a great job at doing that. You can see that the stats that you have now are far so greater and better than what we had a year ago. And the goal is to make sure that we have no gun violence in this city, and to make sure that we take people's decisions and actions and turn them into preventative opportunities. So I'm grateful for the rise of Birmingham, flipping the game from hustle to enterprise and the community practitioner, which gives those that are in Birmingham this real robust training that they need to keep building peace in the streets. In the world that we're in today, we have no choice but to build peace and build our own communities. So I'm grateful to the mayor for embracing and investing in these opportunities and the public and private partnerships that we will continue to harness across the city of Birmingham and across this nation to bring these trainers and to invest in what we have built here, the One Hood. I remember traveling to Newark 3 years ago, and one of the things that I said that we're going to have a One Hood Alabama, and we've stood up One Hood Alabama. Grateful again to the mayor, grateful to Uche Bean, who walks alongside me to make sure that we bring in these robust initiatives and investing in what we've already started here and getting our streets safer. Again, Mayor, thank you. Thank you, President Knight, Dr. A.G., and Jamila T. Davis. I got to give it up to Dr. Davis for her steadfast, unmovable opportunity to launch this here at the historical Miles College HBCU. 30 young people, 50 teams will get an opportunity. We're going to be grabbing our brothers and sisters in, and we bringing people. It may seem like we bringing people from out of town, but they have the knowledge to train you so you can have the knowledge to keep training people. But again, Mayor, thank you. I cannot stress and say this enough. Thank you very much. Thank you, Uche. Thank you, Jacoby. And thank everybody who is investing in our young people and people to make Birmingham safer. So thank you all.
Greetings, folks. My name is Angelo Pinto, and I'm one of the founders for the Institute for Research and Social Justice and Action. I want to thank President Knight, Mayor Woodfin, Councilwoman Tate, Uche Bean, and the city of Birmingham for what we've been able to accomplish in such a short period of time. We know that none of this work, violence prevention, doesn't happen without investment. And the mayor and the city of Birmingham has made a tremendous investment to do the work, but not only do the work, but to facilitate partnerships. Across the country, when we do the work, we always try to create government, community, and academic partnerships. It doesn't always work. Sometimes folks don't let us do it the way we'd like to. But we know when that happens, the work moves faster, and we can make progress in ways that many folks don't think is possible. We've been able to recognize what works in cities across the country. And our goal, the thing we desire to do most, is really bring them to the cities that need them the most and create transformation that happens from the bottom up, right? Transformation that happens from the bottom up. One of the things that we always lead with is high-risk interventions. How do we stop the bleeding initially? How do we take guns off the street? How do we stop individuals from using them? Once we're able to do that, some of which we've been able to do, once you're able to do that, the next step really is, how do you enhance that work? How do you find the individuals who are the peacekeepers, who are the peacemakers, and nurture those individuals to step in the kind of leadership that creates transformation beyond our wildest dreams? And that's actually what academic institutions allow us to do. We bring community into these academic institutions, sometimes community who's right outside but don't have access. Right? Individuals who don't think they should be in an academic institution. And that's a big part of this project. We believe that Birmingham is special. We believe that Birmingham is important. And we know that Birmingham has a long history of the civil rights movement. And we believe this is an emerging movement that will transform the country. We talk about it all the time. We don't know if there's a bigger issue in our country than public safety. It's a thing people care about, people want to see change happen, but oftentimes we have a challenge figuring out how it happens. But what we've realized is those closest to the problem are closest to the solution. Those are the individuals who can make a difference. And this summer, we're excited about bringing 3 of our most popular and successful programs. The mayor mentioned Flipping the Game is one of those programs. We have a youth violence interruption program, which some of the brothers are doing in Atlantic City and East Orange, which has been tremendously successful, where not only are they the peacekeepers, but we're nurturing peacekeeping skills in our young people. Because we know these are the young folks who will either participate in violence or keep our community safe because they're closest to another problem, which is the problem of young people engaging in violence, right? And then the last piece is our community practitioner program. Those individuals who are doing the work on the front line day in and day out, we want to nurture their leadership. And many of the individuals behind me who will speak briefly are individuals who are now instructors in the community practitioner program because they are senior community practitioners. So I just want to give them a minute to share a few words.
Yes, how you guys doing? My name is Khalil Tut, and I'm part of One Hood North and New Direction programs that we created. They were CBOs, community-based organizations we created within our community that got recognized by our mayor, and our mayor was able to resource us to help other brothers from the streets turn their life around that came home from prison, that was part of the problem, that wanted to be a part of the solution, but didn't know where to begin or where that will put them at. But us being able to tap in with our mayor, giving us an opportunity to push forward, and it kind of inspired other brothers to step up. And then we got recognized by the institution, by Jamila T. Davis and Mr. Pinto, and they trained us up to do the work professionally, to help build some programs and see how we can, bring those programs back to the schools and some of the institutions that were suffering from violence. In our city, it was a lot of the high schools that was getting in a lot of stuff. So we was able to come in as credible messages and speak with the youth and let them know about our struggles and where we at now and the things that the direction that they going in life is going to be a destructive one if we don't get in front of it. Some of these kids come from parents who experienced street violence or was in the street, so there's a lot of work that had to be done. So we kind of like servicing the whole community with this work and being able to tap in with the adults and the youth and bring them all together is definitely a blessing. And Jacoby is one of our brothers who we recognize all the way from Jersey, stepping up, trying to do the work out here by himself at first. And I was like, yo, we got to go out there and support the brother because he got a similar story like us, come from the streets and changed his life, got back into the church, changed his spirit, and he became a real leader. And it's hard to do that when you're in an evil culture and people trying to push forward, and that's a dangerous thing to do because you putting your life in, your freedom, everything on the line to challenge evil people. And I love that courage in him. So we definitely wanted to come out here and work with him, and I'm glad that the mayor recognizing it and a lot of people in position to resource us to help us carry this work. We're going to have a beautiful summer out here in Birmingham, Alabama. it's going to be a blessing. So I appreciate you guys for having us, and we look forward to doing the work.
How y'all doing? I'm gonna be very brief. I thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Uche, Dr. Councilwoman Tate. You're looking at 3 examples when you be intentional.
Correct.
When you've been intentional investing in people who from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
If I ain't have Dr. Davis, Angelo to invest in me, and Uche to tell me, to show me something different I would never knew I can do different.
Right.
So you're looking at 3 individuals. When you really invest in the people, this is what you get.
Right.
3 solid, strong black men can help other black men.
Right.
All right. My name's Shadi. I go by the name 8th Great, and I serve as the executive director for New Direction. And first and foremost, I would like to say thank you to Birmingham, Alabama, for opening up y'all doors to us and allowing us to be able to have this partnership. And you know, I'm gonna just keep it brief. It's something that our mayor Raj J. Baraka say up there in the city of Newark is, you know, if you were to take a picture of this room, the first thing you're gonna look for is yourself. The second you're gonna look for is somebody that you know inside the picture, and that's what it boils down to, because we have to see us inside these rooms. If we don't see us, then we're not gonna relate to it. We're not gonna want to hear anything that's coming out of it. We're gonna rebel against it, and that's the main thing that we do. You know, we those individuals, you know what I'm saying, when the youth look at the city, when they see guys like us, it's relatability, it's understanding. So now we more inclined to listen to a councilwoman Tate, because Jacoby brought him to us. We trust Jacoby, we know Jacoby, you know what I'm saying, and then, you know, so forth and so forth. We're able to trust the mayor because we know Councilwoman Tate, and it's just cultivating that, and you know, just we are community liaisons, so to speak, right? We are able to articulate ourselves to our community that's out there presently now, and able to get them on the same page as our city and make it all make sense, because it's about what makes sense, and we're able to help it make sense to the culture, and that's what we're here to do. And like I said, thank y'all again.
Thank you again to the mayor, president, councilwoman Uche. And one of the other pieces that's tremendously important, and what we say we're building across the country, is really partnership with individuals across the cities where they mentor each other and create change together. So thank y'all so much for having us.
Okay, so Councilwoman Tate, come up as well. So, yes. So we're gonna wrap up the press conference, but we have a Q&A, and y'all, these are the experts. So ask them, and I'll just hang back.
That's what I was saying. Any questions?
How do teens get involved with this?
Great question.
So in partnership with Uche Bean, what we've done is, one of the things that Jacoby has led across the city is what we call Pull Up for Peace. So in different cities, in different parts of the city, we have events where we bring young people to participate. Usually what we do is we have an open enrollment process where young people can sign up for certain programs. And our goal is, with the reach we've had at the Pull Up for Peace, and of course with some work with some of the academic institutions and public schools, we'll push this out to young people and hopefully have them sign up.
We also have some great partnerships with our Juvenile Detention Center, our Juvenile Reentry Program, as well as our Birmingham City Schools, and we have some direct referrals also from the Department of Human Resources as well.
Talking specifically about the community practitioners, what specific skills kind of will they be taught, and kind of how can that be used out in the field in the community?
Well, one of the things that we often say, and the brothers that spoke earlier are a great testament of that, is these are the individuals who are closest to the problem, and oftentimes they don't get to show the skills that they've cultivated. So the community practitioner program is an opportunity, one, for them to actually build programming. So the brothers from New Direction created a youth violence interruption program because it was some of the work they were already doing. They hadn't built a curriculum, they hadn't fine-tuned it, and we actually just brought them in to enhance the skill set they already have. In In addition, we really partner them with folks around the country who are doing work they want to learn. Like some of it is, how do you become a better credible messenger? You're already an individual who folks in the community look to, young people pay attention to what you're doing. How do you make sure you're giving them the kind of message that creates transformation? And then the other piece is, what are your skills and gifts already? How do we enhance them, and how do we nurture that into new programming?
And what are the activities that they're going to be participating in? Just kind of paint a picture of like what the day is going to be like for these participants.
So usually our summer programs are full-day programs. They look different. So the Flipping the Game program is about entrepreneurship. So one of the things we know is that some young people want to be entrepreneurs, or they have the skill set to do that. So they'll be learning the first part of the day from folks who are entrepreneurs. We'll talk to them about funding. Most of these young people will receive between $1,000 and $2,000 to fully fund their program. And in the second half of the day, probably from 12 to 3, they'll be working on building out their actual business model. The community practitioner model, we actually have a course called Agents of Change, where folks will be working directly from the curriculum, and then the second half of the day actually building out their program. So we usually have a half-day in-session model where you're learning the curriculum, and then the second half you're actually building out your programming or your initiative to see how it works. So that's usually how it works. But the last piece is this. The last week of the summer, we usually do an expose where folks from the city get to see what we've done. Young people get to kind of show their work, and we get to see how effective it is. And then we usually have a competition where the best businesses get funded, the best community practitioners also we fund and kind of put some seed money into their work as well.
Can you talk a little more about why this was the right time to launch these programs in Birmingham this summer?
I can speak to it. I think we start with the fact that we have been, before the Crime Commission, there's been a considerable effort put into not just addressing crime from an enforcement standpoint, but also from a prevention and a reentry standpoint. This work got accelerated, of course, last year when we were faced with the considerable amount of high homicides in our city. Now, the good news is, from a lot of enforcement's effort, to date we can report year to date, June 16th, that homicides were down in our city 50%, which is tremendous progress. But we also acknowledge the summertime is when violence tends to be at its highest in any city in America. In addition to that, I think it's a time where our children are out of school, and so it's a good time to offer other opportunities than being in the streets. The last thing I would say is this. The Crime Commission recommendations also included enhancing and accelerating prevention and reentry efforts. And so between Uche Bean as well as Councilwoman LaTonya Tate, their efforts to go out and seek best practices from other cities in America that are doing this work, we want to not only replicate it, but make it applicable to our community and tailor it to our residents and our young people so that can flow in the best way to yield a result of our young people not being in the streets and or shooting and or being killed.
Let me just add briefly to the question that the reporter asked, and it gives parents that have jobs and they're at a safe space at the HBCU college to know that your kids are in a safety zone. And as the mayor said, making sure that we do not have kids just running around in the city when they are here learning and getting the training and the skill set they need. One of the things that we saw when we went to Newark with the One Hood is we saw a lot of young people that were influencers that were turning their influence, because if you're an influencer and you got 10,000 or 20,000 followers on social media, just think about if you taking that influence and turning it into a positive. So that's, want to thank the One Hood and Jacoby and Dr. Davis and Angelo for bringing this opportunity to people. So it gives our young people an opportunity to be in a safe space, and we're just looking forward to that.
Any more questions? One more?
Can you please say and spell your name?
Yes.
Hardest question.
My first name is Uche, that's U-C-H-E, last name Bean, B-E-A-N.
Yes.
I serve as Director of Community Safety Initiative, City of Birmingham.
And I'm I'm Angelo Pinto, A-N-G-E-L-O, Pinto, P-I-N-T-O, and I'm one of the co-founders for the Institute for Research in Social Justice and Action. Thank you for that question.
And you all know me. I am Councilwoman LaTonya Tate. I proudly serve the constituency of District 9, L-A, capital T-O-N-Y-A-A-T-A-T-E, and I am the chairwoman of the Public Safety Committee for the City of Birmingham.
So for real, like you really need us? Thank you all so much.